My name is Sue White. I'm with Operation Hope. I have 25 plus years in the finance and banking industry, mortgage lending, commercial lending, and consumer lending. So I know when you go to the bank or go to the mortgage companies, I know um, what they're going to want. And Operation Hope, what we do is we do one on one credit counseling. So we are not credit repair, but we will help you with your credit and money management. We create a budget. We also use an expense tracker. So initially on our first one-on-one meeting, what I do is I go over your credit, we create a budget, and we're creating a budget, but then at the end of the month or the end of the time frame, we want you to input the figures and see what the actual budget turns out to be. You may think it's one thing, but after using the expense trackers are eye-opening. We want you to understand your credit and what makes up your credit. For example, 35% of your credit score is your payment history. How you pay. Do you pay what the banks say pay is agreed? Do you pay on time? 30% is the total debt utilization. A lot of people don't realize that if I have a credit card and I'm carrying a balance, you don't ever want that balance to be more than 30% of your credit limit. Sometimes, everybody's gone through things. Sometimes you've got collections, things that we need to address. We do provide examples and of how to dispute something. And accuracy. One thing, the Card Act, which is one of the regulations, is probably the most uh, it has reformed really the credit card industry by it put in place to protect the consumers. So it was probably one of the best reforms in decades. So we want you to understand Equal Credit Opportunity Act. We want you to understand what your rights are. And one of those rights is disputing inaccuracies on your credit. So if you're looking at your credit report and I'm going over that with you and I say, well, what about this? And you're like, I've never even heard of that. I have no idea what that is. Well, that's something that might need to be disputed. Also, you want to dispute if your name is wrong or the dates are wrong. It could be someone else. We do, we will show you how to settle a debt and how to negotiate to settle that debt. While lenders don't like to see settlements or settled debts, settled debts on a credit report, it is better than seeing that outstanding charge off or that outstanding credit. Operation Hope was founded back in 1992. And so we have a lot of experienced coaches that know how to help you with these issues. We, our whole mission is about inclusion and financial dignity and financial well-being. That's our purpose and our mission. And we have a 72% rate of raising credit scores above 700. Part of our mission is 700 credit score communities. So helping our clients get to that stage and helping them to be able to buy a house, helping them to be able to increase their savings, reduce their debt. It literally, the difference between a 600 and a 700 credit score is life-changing. It will affect your insurance rates. It will affect your credit card rates, but it will affect greatly when you go to buy a house. We currently, and I was telling Lola about this the other day, we stay very connected with mortgage lenders. And I am sponsored. I work for Operation, but I'm sponsored by First Horizon Bank. So, of course, I talk to our mortgage lenders frequently. And right now, there's some mortgage products out there. If you qualify, the minimum credit score is 620. If your income is under a certain amount, you may be able to get in without any money down. Possibly you'll need to pay your closing costs, but even sometimes there are grants out there for that. And that's something we let you work with the lender for. But what we try to do is help you get your credit to that point. And it can, you have to do the work and you have to be committed and engaged to do it, but it will work. And I mentioned also your trade lines about your credit cards and keeping those at the 30% of your credit limit. But also, if you have no trade lines or they've been charged off or you just haven't had anything for a while, we also know about some things. I just got a text about one this morning, secured credit cards. So you can get that credit card and it'll report on your credit and be showing as something that's paid as agreed. And what we do with those is suggest that you use those once a month, twice a month, pay it off in the same month. So it continues to show that payment pattern. We also teach you about the EITC, which is the Earned Income Tax Credit. We want you to get the largest refund you can get. We want you to utilize that if you get a decent refund. So we teach about the EITC credit and how much you can get back, and also about locations. This is something you may not be aware of, and I can share more about that in our one-on-one counseling sessions. But about VITA. VITA is a sponsored by the IRS, and it's locations usually in your area that will help you do your taxes for free. So you don't have to pay H&R Block or TurboTax or any of that. You can go to them and they'll help you maximize your return, and the service is free for you. So we also want to help you increase your emergency fund. I think if 2020 and currently 2021 taught us anything, it was how important an emergency fund is, and having that emergency fund uh, for some, if you are out sick, COVID is, I think now, depending on how bad it is for you, is a 14-day recovery period, 10-day recovery period. I believe it changes frequently, so I'm not positive, but it helps you if you're out of work for a time, or when the kids are out of school for a time and you might have to be home with them. Having that emergency fund, having 6 to 12 months of your expenses in that fund, I think this pandemic has made us all aware of how crucial that is. So we help you with that. We help you to put that in your budget and see the rewards of having that, just the peace of mind of having that. That's
I
kind of the
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sue.
that's kind of the mini version for you, but I did want to impart as much of that as I could for you this morning. Also, in our one-on-one counseling, we really teach you about your credit. I know I've got most of you without you on video, but you can take yourself off mutes and answers. Do any of you use Credit Karma? Any of you?
I know some of my clients do use Credit Karma. That's like the Zillow of
Yeah,
credit
yeah,
credit reporting,
it is.
right? So a lot of
It is.
people always bring
It
up
is.
Credit Karma.
And it's a good way to keep track of anything new on your credit and to keep track. But the Credit Karma is a Vantage score. So it's not going to be a true credit score. When you buy a house, the mortgage lenders use what they call a blended score. The score is actually blended. And that score will be, there's 3 bureaus. That score will be like the super score on an SAT, more or less. It's going to be your Experian, your Equifax, your TransUnion score. They put those together and they're almost like an average score. That will be what the mortgage lenders use. And people don't realize that some creditors report to only one bureau. So you want to be sure that if you're trying to rebuild your credit or even establish new credit, that they're reporting to all 3 bureaus. So Credit Karma is one way, but I do think going out to free credit report and pulling your credit report, while it won't give you a score, it will make you aware of what's on your credit, and start the process, the journey of repairing that. When you go out to the creditreports.com, you can go out and pull your credit report for all 3 bureaus once a year. But now with the pandemic, I believe they're letting you pull that score more frequently. Yeah.
They are. I do have a question for you. Along with your one-on-one that you do, let's say, for instance, you have a client that comes in and maybe they don't need so much help with the personal finance, but are looking for like business um, counseling and things like that. Because I know I have some people that might be interested in that might be on this
Yeah,
Zoom.
I have a whole division. We start with the one-on-one counseling to be sure that they're kind of ready, to be possibly, if they're looking for a business loan or looking for capital, they, might have to be a guarantor. So we start with the one-on-one counseling, and then we move up to the small business entrepreneur coaches to do that part for them.
Okay,
So we
that's
kind of
awesome.
start with, yeah, we start with the one-on-one to be sure that your personal finances and that you really understand all that. Then we can move you up to the entrepreneurs. And we also have, if you go out on our website right now, we have the 1 million Black owned businesses going on right now, where we're offering Shopify and some things like that for people starting out their business. So it's something you might want to go out on our website and look at, because we do a lot of good work. And recently, for our one-on-one counseling clients, we had a $500 grant out there. And if they had been enrolled in the one-on-one counseling, and we'd been able to, because we follow up with our clients once a month or more frequently. If they need me, they'll text me or call me, and that's fine too. But we follow up at least once a month, and at 3 months, we'll pull credit again to see how it's progressing. But we had a grant out there, and if they had been in our credit counseling program, and we'd had at least 3 follow-ups with them, they could qualify for that grant. And what we would do was pay a bill for them up to $500. So we do have things like that going on. That grant right now is exhausted. We did have a meeting with Atlanta yesterday that hopefully that might be coming back this year, I hope. So, because it's awesome for our clients. I mean, if they're trying to get caught up and struggling, paying a $500 bill can be very useful for them.
Okay. My next question for you is, most of the people on here, or most of the people that's going to see this video are interested in purchasing a home. And of course, we understand that credit is a huge thing, but do your organization have a time limit? I understand that it is free. It's a free service to the client. But can you tell us a little bit about your sponsors, the people that sponsor,
Sponsors.
and if there's any, yeah, or if there's any time limit on individual persons seeking you guys' help?
We are sponsored nationally by, there's a whole list, and I'll get it wrong, but I forget. We're sponsored by FEMA. We're sponsored by First Horizon Bank. We're sponsored by SunTrust, US Bank, USAA, USPS. Um, uh, I forget the bank. There's just if you name it, BB&T. I'm thinking of some of the larger ones. We're also in the KKR. We are actually, some of our coaches are in actual businesses, where businesses hire or sponsor a coach to stay on site in their businesses to do just their employees, take care of just their employees, and which is an awesome program. So if you go out on our website, you see tons and tons of our different coaches, our sponsors that sponsor the coaches, to allow us to make this free for you, because our mission, we are a nonprofit, and our mission is to the fairness, the capitalism for everybody. We think that it should be fair and even across the board. As far as a time frame, not really. I check in with you every 30 days. If you need me more often, I give you access, my cell phone, my text, my email. You can check in with me if you have a problem or a question. We stay with our clients usually up to a year to 2 years even, to help them get their credit where it needs to be, and help them to have a realtor like Lola that will help you find the home you want. And then we can also speak to the mortgage reps and get them involved to help you as well.
Um, do they have to work with the lenders that you guys partner with, or
No,
can they find
no,
their own?
no, they can work with any lender. They can work with any mortgage company. The only reason I mention that, our partners and other banks, sometimes we're very aware of programs they might have. They might reach out to us and say, hey, we've got this program or that program. You might have some of your counseling enrollments that might apply, that might be something that would work for them. But no, you can work with any lender that you choose.
Okay. Let me see. What other kind of questions? Okay, let's talk about free money. How do they figure, how do you find, because I know everybody loves free money. Everybody loves,
Oh yeah.
grants and things like that. And unfortunately, a lot of us do need that assistance, right? But I think a lot of people are under the impression that it should be hard for you to ask for help. Um,
It
no
shouldn't be.
matter
It shouldn't
yeah,
be.
no matter how much
No,
money you make,
no, it
you
doesn't.
want free money.
I'll share this with everybody if it doesn't really matter how much money you make. We get clients that make tons of money and have high credit scores. They just can't manage their money. And they'll come to us to help them with a budget or help them to be able to manage their money and maybe get their debt reduced. Sometimes having a lot of money, we'll see higher debt because they can get qualified for it. And so we want to see them reduce that debt and get their budget more on track so they're being able to save more for their future and reduce more of that debt. But you shouldn't be, nobody should ever be this is, having that financial peace and that financial well-being is right. I feel like it is. I mean, our chairman Bryant, who founded Operation Hope, talks about civil rights, but silver rights, SILVER, silver rights, that everybody has a right to that. And so that's what we want to help people overcome the struggles they've had. Now, we don't get involved in the grants that the mortgage lenders and all know about, but when you go to your lender or go to the mortgage lender, you definitely want to ask about what programs are out there. I know Lola could probably speak to this. First-time home buyers, there's a lot of programs that help first-time home buyers. There are grants out there that the mortgage lenders do know about, also where lenders will pay PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, sometimes for their clients. So there are programs out there, and the grants are out there that sometimes will help with closing costs and help you to get in without without any money down.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to purchase a home and I'm going to try this again for the third time. The thing is, being a first time home buyer, I'm military, but I don't have perfect credit. And a lot of times I notice that they want like a really high credit score, and I guess mine's kind of average. So, like, ways to mitigate, around that. Are there any programs that can help?
Well, our program does help, but one of our goals is to increase your credit score. Now, normally, now I'm in the area that I am, we see normally there are some programs where you can get in as low as a 620 score. But there are some programs also that we see where the financing can be a 640 or above. Now, of course, Ms. Jones, your rate is going to, we always call it credit and cash flow. So the rate is very tied to that credit score and your debt to income ratio as well. And when I have my one-on-one counseling, if my clients are, their whole purpose is home buying and that's what they're looking at, we look at their debt to income ratio too. There may be that your debts in relationship to your income are too high. and that makes your debt to income ratio high. And that's something that the mortgage companies look at very closely. I do suggest this though, Ms. Jones, have you tried going to any of your banks or whatnot to be pre-qualified?
No, I tried through a private lender, and they just said that my credit score, I think at the time, was a 660, and they said it was too low. So kind of discouraging. And I was like, you know what?
60 is not too low. That is not a low score for many of the mortgage companies. Was it just was it a community
And
bank?
they were just looking at, yeah, it was a regular bank. I think it was Bank of America. And then they were just looking at things that, you know, pass credit. And you're like, dude, that was the point of paying it off. You know, like that's why you paid it off and you move forward. It just seemed to be exhausting.
It is exhausting, and I don't disagree. It is something you have to really want, and there's something that you end up having to work at. But I do think that a 660 score, and even if you've had delinquencies in the past, and I do agree, there is some time. There does need to be some seasoning, I guess, to that. Where okay, that was in the past, but a 660 score, and if you'd like to sign up for the one-on-one counseling, we can talk about that. And we might have another mortgage lender kind of look at that for you, because that you might be able to get pre-approved with that score. That's not a bad score. Yes, you've had credit problems in the past, but if that is in the past, how recent are the issues you've had?
Oh, we're talking about 2 years ago, and just still trying to pay down like 3 major credit cards.
That is that is 30% of your score, is that the balances. That's going to be, so if you've got, as I said earlier, a credit card and you're utilizing 50 to 60% of your credit limit, that does have an adverse effect. It has a negative effect on your score. But a 660 score is
I know.
I mean,
I was so frustrated, but okay.
yeah.
Thank
If
you.
you're interested in counseling, I can probably talk to you more about that.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one question if anybody else don't have one. Just do you have to, when we talk about financial planning, because I know that's one of the things that your company, your organization help with, do you have to be somebody that has like a lot of money to do financial planning, or do you have to be super broke and all of these different things for financial planning? Can you explain, because I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what financial planning is and how it can benefit them.
Right. No, you don't have to be super broke, and you don't have to be super rich. There are a lot of financial planners, as far as, and if you're referring to the, like investments, you can start investment accounts with very low balances and let those build. If your company doesn't have a 401k, one thing you might think about is starting an IRA. You don't have to put the maximum in each year, but starting that. But what we try to start with is the budget, and get that budget where you are actually saving each month, and that then we can suggest certain products or certain that you might be able to invest in. I have a client, the client that I have, I'm going to have to get off and take care of this next client, but he is one that's very interested in the investing. So that's what I probably will be working with him on. So, and I apologize, I've got another client in like 6 minutes, so I've got to get off and get his call. But Lola's got my contact information. I would love to enroll any of you on our one-on-one counseling and help you in any way that I possibly could. Again, it's a free service. You're just meeting with me. It's very casual. We can do a Zoom meeting. We can do it by phone. It's whatever you're comfortable with. And again, we meet with you for the one-on-one session, and then we meet with you every 30 days to see what your progress is and how we might help you progress along. Okay. So please don't hesitate. Lola will share my information. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will give you my email if you've got a pencil or a pen. It's SUE.white, WHITE, at operationhope.org. So please don't hesitate. I've got my cards here. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Happy to have you contact me and be happy to help you with anything that I can. All right. Nice.
Thank you so much, Sue. I
Lola,
appreciate
I enjoyed
you
it so much.
for taking
It was
the
so
time.
nice to meet all of you. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.